Hello friends, welcome to your channel ABC Health. I am your friend and your host Nishant in your journey towards good health. Today we are going to talk about a very important but often neglected subject when it comes to health, and that is strength training. We are going to talk about why strength training is important, how much of strength training we should actually do, and simple strength training exercises that you can do just at home without any equipment. Before we start, I just wanted to throw a fact to you and just check, have you ever realized that we as humans lose on an average about 5% of muscle mass for every decade of our life that we age after the years of 30. That means in the middle years, we tend to often lose more muscle. And this is mainly because of lower levels of hormones that impact overall growth and muscle growth and bone growth. But also because of reduced brain muscle activity in the body, and also because of reduced protein consumption and consumption of other nutrients that are very, very, very important for overall muscle health. So what happens as a result is that we often tend to accumulate more fat in our body as a percentage to the muscle that we have, and strength training is one way to avoid this problem and basically maintain the muscle mass at every age and every stage of our life. So first thing first, we need to understand what is strength training. Often people mistake strength training for just heavy lifting in the gym and bodybuilding. But that's not always the case. Strength training basically means any exercise that helps us to maintain muscle mass and over time probably even grow muscle mass. And that could be done even without the gym equipment. It could be done at home with very, very simple techniques. It could be something like a push-up or a squat or a lunge or any type of strength training that gives overall muscular strength. However, people who are good at doing that can always have the option to progress further, and they can add body weight training and further weight training, and can also use machines. Even cycling, for example, is a type of strength training because it does help in maintaining muscle mass in the body. Strength training has numerous benefits which are often neglected. One of the main benefits is that strength training helps in building muscle mass. When we build more muscle, the body uses more energy because muscles often tend to use more calories compared to fat. So as a result, our body burns more calories, and that means the tendency to put on more weight is very, very less. So in which case you are trying to avoid diseases like obesity or being overweight. So that also helps you reduce your body weight. There was a recent study in about 4,600 adults in type 2 diabetes, where they found that the overall incidence of type 2 diabetes was 32% lesser in those people who did moderate strength training or had moderate muscle mass as compared to those people who did not do any strength training at all. So it helps in avoiding diseases like diabetes. Another study interestingly also showed that lifting even moderate weights, not heavy weight, but even moderate weights for even 1 hour in a week significantly reduces the chances of heart attack or stroke by almost 40 to 70%, which is a great health benefit to have. The other benefit of improving muscle mass is that it reduces the risk of osteoporosis and fractures and the risk of falls in older adults, which is quite a common problem in the elderly age group. But often, even conditions like back pain, so strength training definitely helps that. So obviously it helps in people in all age groups, not just the older people. One of the positive impact of strength training is also on brain health, which is lesser known. But there are studies that have shown that along with aerobic training or walking or cycling or running or these sort of exercises, if you also do strength training, that helps in reducing chances of depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, mood changes. It gives your body a positive energy and a positive mood and keeps the brain sharp overall. When it comes to how often strength training should be done, a good rule of thumb is to work out each muscle group twice a week. For example, you could alternate between the upper body and the lower body every day or every other day, or also do a full body workout probably 2 or 3 times a week. The key is to train the larger muscle groups of the body. So you want to make sure that you're training your legs, your calves, your glutes in the lower body, and the arms, your shoulder, and your chest in the upper body. The benefit of training these larger groups is that you could see that the greater this muscle mass, because of these muscles being larger, you would see that the overall energy consumption of the body increases, the caloric uptake of the body increases, and as a result, you tend to lose weight as well. So that's the other benefit. So now I'm going to share with you 5 simple home-based strength training exercises that I started when I began my strength training program. Bear in mind that I am no physio or no expert, but this is just a general suggestion that I've been following. So I hope that is useful to you as well. Make sure that you get the technique correct. That's really important because that could otherwise lead to injury. And make sure that you do a little bit of warm-up before you start these strength training exercises. So the benefit of this is you can do this without equipment. All you need is just your body weights or your body to put pressure, and you should be good to go. The first and one of the most important exercises for lower body is the squats. Now this is something that pretty much everyone can do. It's one of the easiest exercises. All you need to do is just stand with your feet shoulder width apart, and make sure that initially when you have issues with squatting, you can probably also look to widen your feet at an angle, which makes the squatting a little bit easier. You need to make sure that your thigh goes parallel to the floor. So you need to go as low as possible, and that makes the squat complete and sort of exercises all of the lower body muscles. What you need to do is just keep your hands like this and go down, parallel to the floor, and go up. Simple. The benefit of the squat is that you can do that without the equipment, as I said. But as you go with time and you strengthen your legs more, you probably might want to put more resistance on your muscles, in which case you can also use weights or dumbbells. Again, the technique doesn't change. The only difference is when you're holding the weight, try and hold it as close as possible to the body and squat accordingly. So the key is to do at least 10 reps and try and do at least 3 sets, which kind of puts enough pressure or enough resistance on your key lower body muscles. The next strength training exercise for the arms and the upper body, including the shoulders and the chest, is the push-ups. Now often push-ups could be challenging for some people. So there are 3 variations of push-up that will help you choose the one that suits you most according to your fitness levels. The easiest is while standing on a wall. Just keep your hands shoulder width apart and just push against the wall. This kind of puts minimal pressure on your arms, but it is still good enough to give you some pressure. So people who have not trained at all, this might be a good way to start with. The other variation, which is like a moderate variation, is to use a table or an elevated surface at an incline and just push it against that surface. Just like that. It's a little bit easier compared to a full push-up, and it's a little bit harder than the wall push-up that we just did. And the advanced or the standard version of the push-up is something that we are all familiar with, which we do lying on the ground, parallel to the floor, with our hands almost shoulder width apart, and just go down with the head straight and up, and down and up. As simple as that. The next important exercise for training your core is the plank. The core muscle is something that gives our body stability and balance. So it's really important to strengthen the whole of the core, and plank is one of the best options to do that. It's a very simple exercise, but often can be pretty challenging for beginners. So you can start with doing planks for, let's say, 20-30 seconds, and then gradually increase the time that you can plank for. The technique is very important because when you're planking, you want to make sure that most of the pressure comes not on your shoulders or on your arms, but actually on your core. So what you do is just lie down on the floor with your hands crossed, body parallel to the floor, and just make sure that you keep this position hold for whatever time you can. An easier version of the lunge is the static lunge, which is where you stand and just bend your knee and bend the thigh on the other leg, like this. What we need to make sure is that all of the pressure comes on this thigh which you are bending parallel to the floor. And then just repeat with the other leg without actually touching your knee on the ground. This is a little bit easier for beginners. And the final exercise I want to talk to you about is the thigh plank, which is where you stand against the wall with your back on the wall and your feet shoulder width apart, and just go down until your thighs are parallel to the floor. And try and hold on to this position for as long as you can. A good start would be a minimum of 15 seconds. And as your legs and thighs get stronger and are able to bear more, try and increase that time to 30-45 seconds and probably even more. You can also do this with weights if you want to have an advanced technique. So I hope today I've given you a bit of an idea as to why strength training is so important for us, and how to incorporate simple strength training techniques in your day-to-day life. One of the key things is to make sure that we try and do this regularly, and that's where you can get long-term benefits out of it. So if you've really enjoyed and liked this video, please click on the like and the subscribe button. That gives a lot of encouragement and motivation to me to make further content for you. And please keep your comments coming if there's anything that you want to hear particularly about. I'll be waiting for that. Thanks a lot.